Okay, everybody. So what I want to do is take you through some of the tools you can use on this website called Photopea. Up until today, I thought it was called Photopea, but I was doing a little research just so I could say it the right way for you. And it turns out the creator on Reddit says it's called Photopea, but you can call it whatever you want. I just thought it sounded cooler calling it Photopea. But either way, you're going to go to photopea.com. And as soon as you get there, this window is going to open up. Now, at this point, you need to have downloaded the blank versions of the sneaker outlines from Classroom, and then you're going to open from computer, and you'll have to find them uh, in your downloads. Now, my computer, I've got them here. I'm going to open up the side view, and so I've got two blank outline versions of these Nike Air Force Ones. And I'm going to take you through some of the tools that can help you design these however you like. So I'm going to start by zooming in a little bit. That's a little too far. You can hold the Alt button and the scroll if you have a mouse, and it'll zoom in and out. You can hold the space bar, and you'll see the arrow turns into a little hand, and it'll allow you to move it around to center it if you like. So I'm going to start by looking at this little post-it. It's going to help me go through and remember what I want to tell you about. So that's the opening of the files. You'll go through that way. So I'll check that one off. And now, if you take a look at the left, you'll see along the side edge here, you've got your toolbar. And the two main tools that you're going to work with today are called the Magic Wand and the Paint Bucket or Gradient Fill tools. And you won't see the Magic Wand on the left here. It's actually hidden in one of these tools. It's hidden in the rectangle select tool. Nope, lying. It's hidden in the object selection tool. So we're going to hold on the mouse button there with the left click, and you'll see a new little menu appear. And you're going to go down to Magic Wand and click on it. You'll see the icon turns into the Magic Wand now. Down here, you'll see your gradient tool is also hiding the paint bucket tool. So go click on the paint bucket tool and click on the magic wand and hold them down so that you have them both available to you right now. And then we're going to take a look down at the bottom. Now, I'm not sure exactly which colors they're going to default to down in the corner here, but this is called your foreground color, not your background color. So we're going to play around a little bit with these, and you'll see that if I'm going to do a Woodrow Wilson themed sneaker here, so I'm going to select a teal, but you could do whatever you like. So if you wanted to be a little more red or yellow or green or blue, whatever you want. So I'm going to stay right around here, and I'm going to select a color, click OK, and you'll see that that foreground color turns into this. We won't really need a background color yet, so we're just going to leave that alone. So the Magic Wand tool is really helpful for what we're trying to do because it allows you to select a section at a time, and it can make coloring this in, filling it in really easy. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to click on the Magic Wand, and you're just going to click on a section. And you'll see that this little dotted line appears around the outside of it. If I click on a different section, it selects a different section. That's different. You might be used to using a rectangle select to select parts in that kind of a shape. And you can do it with an ellipse. You can do it by drawing if you've ever used a lasso or magnetic lasso. But I made this outline version of the sneakers for you so that it would be all these shapes are connected and complete so that you'd be able to go through and select each individual one. So just for the easiest way to do this is to select one of the sections of the shoe and then make sure you're on Paint Bucket, click it, and then if you click on that section of the shoe, that whole section turns into that color. And then if you go and click this one, you go back to the Paint Bucket and you'll click, and you can think about what color schemes you want to use. I'm going to do these two the same because they're a continuation of the shape behind the swoosh symbol there. And I'm going to do this one with that same color as well. And now I'm going to change my color a little bit just to get a little darker, to have a little variety. And we'll click that shape. And that looks nice. It's a monochromatic scheme right now. We've got just different versions of lightness and darkness in that same color. Back to the magic wand, and we'll select the toe there. And so you can go piece by piece through this entire shoe, section by section, even the shoelaces, and you can select with the magic wand and add color, and select and add color. I'm going to show you a couple other ways to fill things in. Let me just do a little bit of a finish off here. There's a little up and down arrow here, and that'll swap your foreground and background. That way I don't have to go find the black. Magic wand, it's already selected, good. Paint bucket, and then we will fill that in black. I think that looks nice. So now we've gone through using the toolbar a little bit, and the magic wand, and the paint bucket. Those are really the easiest ways to handle filling in these colors. A little bit more advanced is using the gradient tool. And that was what was originally here where the paint bucket is now. So we're going to go back and get that gradient tool selected. And what the gradient tool is going to allow you to do is to show a blend or a fade of one color into another. And it's going to use these two colors that are down here. Right now it's the black and the turquoise, the teal. And I'm going to show you how to do that on the swoosh symbol right there. So I'm going to select it with the magic wand. And then on the gradient, I can't just click it, because if I just click it, nothing happens. But if I draw a line, hold it down, and drag it, you'll see the fade of those two colors appear. And you get to decide which way you want to fade it. If I do a really long line, you'll see a slow fade. If I go right from the edge here to the edge here, you'll see a little bit of a tighter fade. If I do that line inside, you'll see an entire section of black, an entire section of teal, and a really short blend in the middle. So it's really up to you how you like that to look. I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to do that same kind of fade down here. Select the gradient again and draw a line. Remember, you got to draw that line. If you just click, nothing's going to happen. Now we'll go back to the magic wand. So let's say I want to do the shoelaces all the same color. Here's a quick way to do that. You can get that magic wand, select one, hold down Shift while you click a new one, click another, click another, click another, all the way down the line. And you can go in with the paint bucket and click each one. Here's another way you can do it. Click on that paintbrush, and you'll see you get a choice of the size of the brush. You just do a really big brush and you paint while those are selected. It'll color them all in at the same time. And then you've got those shoelaces all the same color. And we'll keep going through. I'll do a little here. Now, here's another thing you can do. So let's say you have these colors here, but somehow these colors here got all messed up, and one is black, no, one is now red, and the other is that khaki color there, and neither one of them are helpful for you. But you've got this color here that you really want to use again. So what you can do to get that to happen, if you look over here, you've got the eyedropper tool. And every time you hover your mouse here, you'll see that the shortcut, the letter I, means that if I just click that with the keyboard, it'll select it. So now I'm on the eyedropper tool, and if I click here, notice down here in the bottom left, it's going to turn into that color, whatever the mouse clicks on. And it's got a variety, kind of an infinite amount of colors here it'll choose from. It can be white, it can be black, but I wanted this one again, so we're going to go click that. Then we're going to go up here. I've got a little bit of the heel that I want to add color to. So I'm going to go back to the paint bucket. And now these and these are the same color. Got one little one I want to do up here. And I'm going to go with the lighter version there. And paint bucket and get in there. Some of the smaller areas, you can zoom in if you want, or you can just try your best to be precise with it. I could finish it there for now if I want. I'm going to scroll down here because I've got two of them, and I put two of them there because maybe you want two different designs. Maybe you wanted to do a right and left side if you wanted different types of designs on the inside and outside of the shoe. It's really up to you. On this one, what we're going to try to do are some more advanced things. We're going to talk about filling sections instead of with a solid color or a gradient. We're going to talk about filling them with patterns. And there's an easier way to do it with some built-in patterns. And then I'm also going to show you how you can do this one way, and there's lots of ways, but I'll show you one way you can do this with a custom-based pattern. So back to what we've been doing. Let's click here, the midsole right here. Okay. And now when we go and we have that selected. We have that selected. We're going to go to Layer. We're going to go to New Fill Layer. Okay, so you're in Layer, New Fill Layer, and then Pattern Fill, and a new window is going to pop up here. And if you click here, you'll see you have choices. You have a selection of patterns you can work with, some polka dots there, but it's really, those are the ones you have to pick from. There are ways you can create your own patterns and import them, but for now, I would suggest really just sticking with these for this method, or I'll show you another method to get other patterns in there. So let's say I've got this kind of honeycomb black and gray pattern I'll use for that. And magic wand, I'll do the same pattern. Oh, something I got to point out to you. You see up here now in this menu, this layers menu, you've got a new layer here. It created one when I put that pattern fill on top of the background layer. So you can see that little tiny white section there. That's the sole here that I'm working on, and it's filling it in with that pattern. So if I'm selected on that pattern, see here I'm on the background, here I'm on the pattern. If I want to work on the background, which is the outline, I need to make sure I've selected the background. You might run into some issues with that, like I just did. So we want to make sure you have it selected. So on the magic wand now, while I'm on the background, I need to deselect this first, because you see this little rectangle around here is going to cause me some trouble. So there's a shortcut, but you can also go to select, deselect, and you'll see it's Control D if you ever need it again. And so that little dotted line selection is going to go away. Magic wand to the symbol again, and we're going to add another fill. I could have done these at the same time if I selected them together, but I like that together, so we're going to do that. All right, so that's how you can use the built-in patterns that are here. But I also said I wanted to show you how to do some custom patterns, and I'll show you what's probably the quickest way, I think. If you know other ways, you can do other ways for sure. But now again, I've got another layer here, so I want to be in the background. I want to deselect so that I'm not seeing any of those dotted lines. So when you're thinking about a custom pattern, what I did was I just went to Google and I picked a floral pattern. I just Googled flowers pattern, and the first one that came up I think is really useful for this. So what you can do right here is, I wouldn't right click this one because then you're just taking that little thumbnail. I would right click this one, copy the image, go back to Photopea, and then we're going to paste that into my image. Now I pasted in the top left there, so it's hiding up top. So if you're zoomed in on the bottom and you don't think it's there, just scroll up a little bit. You'll also notice over here that you've got another layer that popped up, and that's the layer that has this in it. So I want to bring that down and cover up my shoe. Now you might notice what happened there is that now I've got my patterns appeared above this, and that's because these layers here, if you think about them like a stack of papers, the bottom layer is the bottom of the pile. So it just fills in above that. So above that, I've got the patterns. Above that, I've got a pattern. Above that, I've got a pattern. But you can arrange them if you want. You can move this. If I go behind there, and now it's hiding behind everything. If I bring it all the way to the top, now it's above everything. So what I want to do is use these little anchors here, adjustment anchors, and I want to make that bigger than my whole shoe. Okay, so you can do that with whatever pattern you have. Make it bigger than your whole shoe. And then if you use this little eyeball icon, you can hide it and reveal it. And that's going to come in handy in a sec. So make sure it's bigger. Then go to your background. And now we're going to do some things you're used to doing. We're going to use that magic wand tool. And let's pick a section here. Okay, we've got that section selected. Now, without deselecting it, without clicking on anything else, I'm going to reveal the pattern. Now, if you notice, if you haven't clicked anything else in between, you'll see that that toe patch, that section is still selected, and now it's selected on this layer. So I revealed it, now I click on it, right? So I had the background, I selected it with the magic wand, I revealed the layer one, I clicked on the layer one. So it's a few steps there. That's why this is the advanced way to do this. It's got a little bit of a few extra steps involved. Okay, now this is selected on the floral layer. So if I go to edit and I copy, it's going to copy from whatever layer you have selected, and that is right now the pattern layer, and that's what I want. So I have that selected. Hopefully this works like I think it should. We're gonna hide that layer again, and now you're gonna go to edit and paste, and you'll see that that flower layer, another one just got created because I pasted, and I created a floral layer that's only that section of the shoe right there. And you can do that with multiple sections just like we did before. So if I Control Z and go backwards here a little bit. Okay, let's back up a little bit. So Control Z works in this as well, just like it works in almost every other application. It undoes what you have there. It'll only go back a certain amount of steps, but it's a good amount of steps. So I've got my layer of pattern here. It's above my shoe. Okay, so we're going to go to the background layer. Now let's try this by selecting a few so that they can all be kind of a continuous pattern. Hold Shift, and I've selected that section. This one, hold Shift again. If you let go, I've got 1, 2, 3 sections selected. Now I'm going to, without clicking anything else on the image, I'm going over here, click on the layer, reveal the layer, make sure the sections that you wanted are still selected there. And then you can use your shortcuts if you know them. Control C for copy, hide this layer, Control V for paste. I've got a new layer now that has these 3 patterns in there. You work your way through. I've got magic wand again. Can even add that to my shoe. I'm clicking over here and I'm wondering why it's not doing anything, and it's because I'm not selecting. You can see it's darker purple. That means that's selected. I got to select the background layer. There we go. And now I'll select all of the shoelaces, and I can even add those patterns same way, right? Layer 1 is my pattern layer. So click it, reveal it, make sure those little shoelace sections are selected there. Control C to copy, hide it again, Control V, got a new layer with those patterns, and you can see they're filled in. Now these look like nothing happened there, but that's just because that was a blank part of the pattern, right? So you can go through and design with just some fills and some gradients, with some patterns, with a mixture of both, however you like. But this is a really useful tool. It's got a lot of the tools of Adobe Photoshop, which is a really high-end program, and this is totally free. It doesn't require an account to set it up. You just go to photopea.com, and this app opens up, and you can do all of your image editing here. Okay, now what we've got on here, some advanced fills, good, we did that. That's done. Now saving files. So when you're done, if you double click over here, you want to change the name of your file. So call it, I'm going to call it Romeo Sneaker, and then you'll see that pop up here. Now you'll see this little asterisk here, which means that it hasn't been saved yet, and it also says .psd. Now, depending on how much you know about digital images, a PSD is a Photoshop document, and that means that all of these layers will still be here, but it's not always going to be compatible with an image viewer. So here's what we're going to do. After you've retitled it, you go to File, then Export As. We've got a lot of options here, and they all have different characteristics, but the universal one for images, if you're not sure already, is a JPEG. So you're going to click JPEG, and you'll see you've got your image. You can move around there, save for web, all of this. You're not going to change any of this, and it's going to save it with whatever that title was. So if you haven't changed that title already, it's just going to save it as probably as new project. But because I've changed the name, I'm going to click save, and it's going to show up here as Romeo Sneaker. Now there's a 1 there because I've already done this a couple times, and I guess I forgot to delete the last one. So if you have multiple files with the same name, it automatically gives it an extra number there, so it's not overwriting and deleting any old files that you have. Okay, so from there, if you've done all your editing on Photopea and you want to hand it in that way, then you're going to go into Classroom, and on the assignment post, you'll add a file or create a file in the assignment post and upload your sneaker designs to me that way. I gave you a blank outline that has the side views, and I also gave you a blank outline that has the overhead views. You do not have to do all 4 of them. So I just gave you that extra one. I'd like you to do the 2 side ones here to experiment a little bit, 2 different designs, or an inside-outside version of the same design is up to you. But I thought maybe if anybody was interested in seeing all the different views of the shoe, you might have a little fun with that one too. Okay, so hopefully that helped. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck. Enjoy.